Information is power, but like all power, there are those who want to keep it for themselves. My name is Diana West. I'm here to talk to you about mobile media and public relations and digital innovation. This first slide is a Mr. Aaron Swartz, who unfortunately took his life in 2013 after a very long and fraught conversation with the FBI about information and his desire to make it freely accessible to everyone. Now, digital innovation and public relations. What is public relations? Public relations is the management of information between brands, organizations, individuals, and their stakeholders and publics. That's both loaded and oversimplistic, but we're going to get further into what PR actually means and what the ethical and functional implications of public relations is and what our responsibilities as practitioners should be in this digital age. Now, we're going to cover a few areas. AR, which is augmented reality, virtual reality, which is often called VR, bots, Internet of Things, and AI. So moving right ahead, welcome to the future, and it is digital. Now, augmented reality, mostly referred to as AR, is a live, direct, or indirect view of a physical real-world environment whose elements are augmented or supplemented by computer-generated sensory inputs such as sound or video or graphics or GPS data. That comes right off Wikipedia, as most of my definitions do. And you will see here the most well-known and extensively case-studied augmented reality of late was the Pokemon Go phenomenon. It was an absolute unicorn. It took off overnight. It created a culture, a counterculture, and got millions of people out chasing Pokemons all over the planet. So that's augmented reality. Now, the opportunities with augmented reality are vast. There's retail and FMCG opportunities, such as Coca-Cola worked with Spotify and did an augmented reality where you could have a picture of your Coke bottle and then pick up summertime tunes. It was very clever. Training implications, you can get people in situations like pilots or surgeons or teachers, and you can create environments that are safe, and you don't have to get a bunch of people around because you can create fake people and situations and get them to learn their trade. Research and development, of course, the augmented reality for everything that we do, gardeners, architects, you name it, the implications are vast. Social implications, leisure implications, the sky's the limit really, so moving right along. Now, virtual reality is not augmented reality. Virtual reality is a completely immersive experience. It's a realistic and immersive simulation of a three-dimensional environment created using interactive software and hardware. It's experienced and controlled by manipulation and movement. It can be movement of your eye, it can be movement of your body, it can be various permutations of those things. It's immersive, it's interactive, and the experience is totally generated by a computer, again from Wikipedia. Now, AR versus VR. This is an ongoing battle of the wills, and I, of course, have opinions, as I always do. So it's interactive versus immersive. So AR is the interactive and virtual reality is the fully immersive. Now, people like Samsung, NASA, they're not viewing it as competing techs. They see them as complementary, and they're working actively with both camps. Facebook, Mr. Mark Zuckerberg, very, very much in the virtual reality camp. So he purchased Oculus Rift for billions of dollars. Now, some examples of the AR that maybe went by the wayside would be maybe the Google Glass. The Google Glass didn't do so good. It was fraught with issues. Perhaps the timing was bad. People didn't like it. and yeah, if you get caught with a picture of you wearing Google Glass, you will get probably shunned by your peers if they're particularly tech savvy. Now, the conclusion, oh, and then the HoloLens is an improvement, but it has some issues with field of vision. So my conclusions based on AR versus VR is both of the areas we're waiting for some innovation and some new breakthroughs, because they do need to be easier, more robust devices and displays, and I'm thinking the evolution might take place along the Internet of Things, and I'll get farther into that after we talk about bots. An internet bot is also known as a web robot, a dub robot, or simply just a bot. It's a software application that runs automated tasks or scripts over the internet. Typically, bots perform menial, boring repetitive tasks at a much faster rate than any human being could, and then all that information gets neatly packaged and sent back to the programmer in the place that he wants it, he or she wants it, or they want it, and they get the information they want based on the movements of the packets across the internet. So that's all it is. It's just basically tracking behaviors or performing simple tasks over and over and over again. Now, bot guidelines. This is interesting because in theory, wouldn't it be nice if there was a couple of rules surrounding bots? Like, bots may not harm humans. That includes anything unlawful, illegal, like spam or information theft or fraud. Well, anybody that's ever been on the internet or heard of the internet is familiar with things like phishing and game cheats and just a variety of maliciously intended bots that exist for the sole purpose of messing with people, stealing money, stealing information. They're out there. To act like they're not would be unfortunate, to say the least. Now, the second comforting idea would be that bots will obey humans. Unfortunately, a lot of scripts are written and left and evolve in their own way and continue running these menial tasks over and over again and are kind of out in the ether, and we're still not entirely sure what's going to happen with some of the untracked ones. And the most famous case study is the Tay bot. Now, Tay was given the ability to try and think. There was they were really chuffed with themselves because it was almost like a deep thinking kind of algorithm that they put into this bot that they sent off to Twitter. And unfortunately, because humans aren't always great, Tay learned some very bad habits. She got very sweary, very xenophobic, very racist, and very mean. So please do look up the Tay bot case study if you want to know more about it. But at the end of the day, bots will not always obey humans, and they certainly won't behave the way you think they're going to. Good, bad, and benign bots. The fact of the matter is, ethical, practical developments and general guidelines for the use on the internet of internet bots, they may be a really comforting idea, but the fact is, web scale software, the web is huge. It'll be built by diverse entities with various agendas, resulting in vast and varied outcomes, some deliberate, some unintended. You just have to accept that and manage it as appropriately and pay attention to your security and the way you conduct yourself and the ethical practices that you engage in. Bots are built by humans, and as such will likely be built and designed for good, benign, or even evil and malicious intent. That's just the way the world has been since before the digital age. Now, next is the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is huge. It is any physical or general animal, plant, anything. And I'm going to go right into the definition. So the Internet of Things, or sometimes known as IoT, is a system of interrelated computing devices, mechanical and digital machines, objects, animals, or people that are provided with unique identifiers and the ability to transfer data over a network without requiring human-to-human or human-to-computer interaction. So the data is just being collected constantly, and the devices are getting to almost think and perform tasks. So it's fascinating. It's things like clothing is becoming divisive and able to collect data and perform functionality, etc. So it's a very interesting and wonderful place to be, the Internet of Things. So it is complicated. The Internet of Things gives everyday objects like your clothes, your appliances, your packaging, a digital functionality and internet connectivity. The implications of this are vast and wonderful for PR practitioners. We can see what excites our clients. We can test what colors they look at the most. We'll be able to do in the future retinal scanning and deeply psychological and behavioral analytics without being too invasive or time consuming. It's also cloud-based, so you're going to always have to consider security implications because the cloud is vast and huge. And while there's encryption and security out there that makes the mind boggle, it is a thing you must always stay ahead of and be aware of. Now, it's also connecting the whole physical world, like the planet in general, and everything to the internet. So the implications of that are somewhat mind-boggling as well, but that's where we're heading. Next is artificial intelligence. This is my main man, Isaac Asimov. He wrote a very famous book called I, Robot. Now, I, Robot gave birth to Asimov's 3 laws of robotics, which plays well into the artificial intelligence conversations that are still happening in 2016. A robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. A robot must obey orders given by human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. And lastly, a robot must protect its own existence, as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. Very clever, very systematic law for us to still have conversations about today. Now, the thing with artificial intelligence, there's been a huge breakthrough that is worth mentioning recently. I'm going to start by defining it. Okay, artificial intelligence, or AI, is intelligence exhibited by machines. In computer science, an ideal intelligent machine is flexible, rational agent that perceives its environment and takes actions to maximize its chances of success at some goal. So it learns. AI means that it learns, and the ultimate goal of AI is personality and thinking for itself. Now, the milestone of late, we're talking about 2 years since this kicked in, is something called deep learning. Now, this is very confusing, and a lot of the people that I interact with daily understand it a lot better than I do, but my basic understanding from Wikipedia is that deep learning, also known as deep structured learning, is a hierarchical learning in deep machine learning, so it is digitized. It's a branch of machine learning based on a set of algorithms, complicated algorithms, that attempt to model high-level abstraction in data by using a deep graph with multiple processing layers composed of multiple linear and nonlinear transformations. Essentially, it's mimicking the amazing and ill-understood functionality of the human brain. The human brain creates connections and synapses based on sensory information, and that's exactly what they've been able to crack with deep learning in machines, is unique pathways. Now, from autonomous driving to robots who learn. The autonomous driving is an area which I'm very, very interested and professionally, personally, and socially bound to continue to research. The other one is the cute little robot down there. It was sent out on its own, and it was very shaky on its feet, and it clambered over rocks and things, and then it learned to continue to move, and it learned from trial and error how to be very successful in its environment. So that is a form of AI, and I think he's adorable. Ethical implications of digital innovation is the next conversation that we're going to have. Ethics is murky and confusing at best. I ascribe most confidently to postmodern theories in ethics, which is basically rules can't be completely set in stone because everything is situational and circumstantial, and there's never anything that's going to be a blanket yes or no or black or white. So having ethical guidelines, I have nothing against that, but at the end of the day it comes down to our own moral fiber, our own experiences, and our own understanding of what our actions and what our activities are going to do to affect ourselves and others. So here in this next section, we're just going to quickly consider and analyze the potential or necessary changes to PR and ethical frameworks resulting from the application of various digital innovations. So I wanted to quickly discuss Creative Commons because I love it. I'll give you the background on Creative Commons. In feudal England, the serfs had an area called the Creative Commons, or the Commons. Sorry, the Commons, not the Creative Commons. And you could feed your sheep on there, you could plant some stuff, you could use it, and then all of the fruits of the labors from the Creative Commons were to better the village as a whole. That is fundamentally what Creative Commons on the internet is. It's a place where everybody can go, everybody can contribute, everybody can learn, and everybody has a role to play for the betterment of the entire society in general. And a good example of that would be Wikipedia. It's not perfect. Case in point, the Scientologists who kept on taking down the accurate information on their organization. But it's I think it's the best we have. And along with open source, which is more a back-end coding philosophy of the same nature, that you share information and we grow better together, innovating, sharing knowledge, and not keeping things to ourselves. Now, the more obvious issues for PR practitioners are privacy, participatory culture, and activism online and in the digital world. we are more connected and we are given more tools and more knowledge than ever in the history of mankind, and that has implications both good and bad, but it does create a culture of activists, which I am actively a part of in the sustainability sense. Corporate and professional communications. Since information is becoming freer and people and whistleblowers and very bad decisions such as Nestle wanting to own all the water, people don't like that, and nor should they. And while dastardly devils chomping on cigars in pinstripe suits in a dark room somewhere used to get away with this stuff, it's getting exposed a lot more readily, and I find that extremely exciting. And so there's a healthy cynicism of corporate culture, and with things like license to operate and an active movement towards doing the right thing for the planet and for society, or not having any customers anymore. I'm pretty excited. And then of course it's identity in the digital age, our cultural identity, our personal identity. Who are we? We all put up our what is it called? Our top reel, the best of our lives on Facebook, etc. And that's creating a false reality of who we are for friends and family. Best of reel, that's kind of what we put up there, and that's something that's worth talking about. And what are the implications for others and yourself when you're creating a brand so freely now? Okay, so ethics for the digital age. This is interesting. So the EDPS, the European Data Protection Supervisor, is currently working towards designing a sound ethical framework for international digital comms. They're hoping to reconsider the ethical dimensions of the relationships between human rights, technology, markets, business models, and their implications for the rights to privacy and data protection in the digital environment. I think that this is a very noble goal, and I think that it's almost impossible to achieve. Guidelines and some active policing for terrible and downright awful activities such as slave trading or fundamentally criminal behavior that harms children, animals, whatever. Policing that sort of thing, definitely encouraging the free flow of information, definitely encouraging people's privacy if they do make an active attempt to protect their privacy, definitely. The problem is the internet's huge. It's huge, and it changes constantly. And we were just talking earlier about all of the new players that are coming to the table with VR, AR, Internet of Things. The information that's passing hands, it's just like the way that we communicate. It's just like nonverbal. It's just the way it is. It's an extension of every single one of us. And monitoring, policing that, I think is probably pretty futile, but I wish them well. Now, we're back to Erin. I do encourage you to take a look at the film The Internet's Own Boy if you want to get angry and sad and really want to get out there and share knowledge and information and create activists and people that are aware of their environment. So Erin said, I started reading books about the history of education and how the education system was developed, and alternatives to it, and ways that people could actually learn things as opposed to just regurgitating facts that teachers told them. And that kind of led me down this path of questioning things. Once I questioned the school I was in, I questioned the society that built that school. Then I questioned the business that the school was training people for, and I questioned the government that set up the whole structure. Once I realized that there were real serious problems, fundamental problems, that I could do something to address, I didn't want to forget that. I didn't see a way not to. So that's very emotional for me. He was a very inspiring and wonderful young man, and the world is a lot less without him, but he believed that knowledge is power and that people deserve to know things so that they can make better decisions for themselves and others. It's that simple. Now I'm going to talk about my personal journey as a PR practitioner, so digital innovation and activism for ChargeNet. Now ChargeNet is the company the startup company that is my largest client, and every other client that I have is directly related to my relationship with the electric vehicle and sustainable community here in New Zealand and across the globe. Now, what we're going to do really quickly is we're going to consider and analyze the implications of digital innovations, as we've been discussing, for PR within my organization. So, first of all, as I said, access to information, use of various tools, and vastly changing and improving technologies for disseminating and collecting information are happening all the time. Now we use a lot of online resources and offline resources, and we engage with people because I believe that choosing sustainability and actively becoming an early adopter of something as disruptive to the status quo of society as electric vehicle technology is exceedingly brave. So it's bold, it's impactful, and it's a decision that any organization or individual can't take lightly. So change scares some people, especially those who have created the power and the wealth by subverting and marginalizing people through entrenched power dynamics, and it has the potential to be a thing of the past. So if we all work together to encourage and support active and moral behaviors that improve our own and other situations, we're on the right track, and using any digital tools that we have at our disposal, I think, is my moral obligation. Empowering people in the digital age. So positive and active change happens when people have knowledge, when they have confidence, and when they feel empowered. And imparting and encouraging these feelings by sharing useful and accurate information across digital media is the key to the PR that I practice. So I use gratitude, community, events, support, and a sense of purpose and impactfulness. And I'm heavily reliant on digital tools to do this. So, collaboration. There's us collaborating. Innovation, we're forever sharing changes to our software, our network, just sharing information. It's hard to keep ahead of it, and it's hard to get everybody educated quickly and always. Impactfulness, in a very real sense, we're putting stations in the ground. So we're removing barriers to EV adoption and actively educating, using whatever tools in the real world and digital that we need. I'm looking into gamification. We're looking into some VR stuff. We've done some VR stuff with Reality Digital already. And we're using tools, and we're trying to meet people where they're at technologically to share this message to help improve the world in general. So I also use community and fun. So having days in the office and mixing it up with technology, taking people on rides in the cars, showing them what it feels like to drive in an autonomous car with your hands off the wheel. All of this, just embracing the technology, meeting people where they are, treating every individual with respect on and offline, and enjoying them and learning from them, and imparting knowledge in return is kind of what we're about. We also freely share information. This is John Liedman. He's one of my absolute favorite champions. We have a complement of probably thousands of champions now who share information on our behalf, actively celebrate the good work that we're trying to do. They own cars, or they're going to own cars, and they share news snippets, information from around the globe in real time amongst each other and across the internet in general. So that makes my life a lot easier. Now, consideration of digital. The fact of the matter is, we have to understand that potential competitors, people that don't like what we're doing, they're watching us and we're watching them. So there's, as we discussed earlier, there's bots, there's information, it's all happening. Big data is a conversation, big data, smart grid technology. These are all conversations that our organization and our industry need to stay abreast of. Data is becoming probably a more powerful tool than money. People want to know why people are doing things, and they want to be able to control the information and have information to themselves. And we have a very different tack. We like to share information, learn from others, and help them to do better things and not be jerks by following our example. Security is an ever-present risk in a physical sense and also in a technological and digital sense. You're always just waiting for the next denial of service attack or stray bot. So we have a full-time security expert who gets paid a lot of money because he's a genius, because security is such an ever-present ethical, general, and safety consideration for our company, our customers, and the future of what we're trying to achieve here. Learning and using new tools. We've got to stay abreast. We've got to use the things that people want. We have to understand different mediums and channels and be able to reach as many people as possible. and staying ahead and aware of trends and innovation. That's been the job of the PR practitioner since the dawn of public relations, since P.T. Barnum himself. Meeting people where they are at technologically is also very important. We have some people that have an electric car that don't even own a smartphone, not even kidding. So we have to find ways to meet people where they're at and continue to help them to understand things. In conclusion, information wants to be free. I very much believe that, and I feel like it's my obligation as a PR practitioner to encourage that. Sharing truth and using digital tools in an attempt to evolve as a PR practitioner to embrace technologies for the purpose of sharing sound information widely and to encourage the ethical ideal of social license to operate and improving society and the planet as a whole should be the ultimate goal of any ethical and effective PR practitioner. Don't obscure truth, rather actively seek it out and share it.